The knock at my door at exactly 5:00 a.m. didn't feel normal. It felt like something had gone terribly wrong. The kind of knock that carries urgency, regret, and a story too heavy to wait until daylight. My heart started pounding before I even reached the handle, as if some invisible force already knew that whatever stood outside would change everything I thought I understood about my life. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected love, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Brightly Kindness, because stories like this deserve to be felt by more hearts. When I opened the door, she was standing there, my CEO. The woman who always walked through glass doors with confidence, who commanded rooms full of executives without raising her voice, who never looked like life could ever shake her. But that morning she looked broken. Her hair was loosely tied, her eyes swollen like she hadn't slept, and her usual composed aura had collapsed into something fragile and human. I froze, unsure whether I was dreaming or stepping into something far too real. It didn't make sense. She wasn't supposed to be here. Not at my modest home, not at this hour, not like this. Yet there she stood, holding nothing but the weight of something she clearly couldn't carry anymore. I had always admired her from a distance. Working under her for years, I had seen her build an empire from discipline and resilience. But I had also seen glimpses of loneliness hidden behind her success, those quiet pauses after meetings, the way her smile never fully reached her eyes. Still, she was my CEO and I was just me. Someone who kept his head down, did his job, and never expected life to cross such strange lines. That morning, everything shifted. She stepped inside slowly, like someone unsure if they even deserved to be there. The silence between us was thick, filled with unspoken questions. Why me? Why now? Why at 5 a.m.? And then I noticed her hands trembling. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about status or hierarchy anymore. This was about something deeply personal, something painful. Her divorce had been the talk of the office just days before. People whispered about it in corners, speculating about betrayal, power struggles, and money. But gossip never shows the truth. It only decorates it with assumptions. Standing there in my living room, I saw the real cost of it. Not the headlines, not the rumors, but the quiet devastation of someone who had lost more than just a relationship. The strongest person I knew looked like she was barely holding herself together. Time seemed to slow down as she finally gathered the courage to speak. Not with authority, not with confidence, but with vulnerability. And what she shared in that moment didn't just surprise me, it shook me. She told me that behind all the success, all the achievements, she had built her life around control over her emotions, her choices, her future. Her marriage, she admitted, was never built on love. It was built on expectations, appearances, and pressure. She had spent years trying to make it work, convincing herself that stability was enough. But it wasn't. And when it finally ended, she didn't just lose a partner. She lost the illusion she had been living in for years. She found herself alone in a life she had carefully constructed, realizing that none of it felt real anymore. And then she said something that made my chest tighten. She said that in all those years, in all the chaos of building her empire, there was only one place where she felt something genuine. One place where she didn't have to pretend. One person who unknowingly gave her a sense of peace. She looked at me. I couldn't breathe. It didn't make sense. I wasn't extraordinary. I wasn't powerful. I was just someone who did small things, offered help without expecting anything, stayed late to support the team, listened when others didn't. But somehow, those small moments had meant something to her, more than I ever imagined. She confessed that she had been fighting these feelings for a long time, convincing herself that it was inappropriate, impossible, even wrong. But after her divorce, after losing everything she thought defined her, she realized something important. Life is too short to ignore what's real, and what she felt was real. The weight of her words settled into the room, heavy and undeniable. I felt overwhelmed, confused, and strangely moved all at once. This wasn't just a confession, it was a moment of truth. A moment where two completely different worlds collided in the most unexpected way. But with that truth came fear. What would this mean for us? For our jobs, for the lives we had built. The risks were undeniable. The consequences could be huge. Yet standing there looking at her not as a CEO but as a woman who had finally allowed herself to be vulnerable, I realized something too. Sometimes the most important moments in life don't come with guarantees. They come with choices. And this was one of them. Days passed and everything felt different. The office, once just a place of routine, became a space filled with silent understanding. We didn't rush into anything. We didn't pretend the challenges didn't exist. But slowly, carefully, we began to rebuild something, not from power or position, but from honesty. It wasn't easy. There were whispers, doubts, and moments where we questioned everything. But there were also moments of quiet happiness, conversations that felt real, laughter that didn't feel forced, and a connection that grew stronger with every shared truth. She was no longer just my CEO, and I was no longer just her employee. We became two people learning how to start again, not perfectly, not without fear, but with something far more valuable: authenticity. And maybe that's what love really is. Not something that fits neatly into expectations, but something that finds you when you least expect it in the most unexpected ways. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like, share, and comment, because your support helps keep stories like this alive and reaching others who need them. And before we end, I have a special request. Comment "Second chances are real" if you believe that life can surprise us in the most beautiful ways. Because sometimes, the knock you never expected